Okay, everyone. It is Wednesday, December 23rd. And I'm promising to do this video for a while. So, it's super quiet at work. So I decided to kind of take a break and do this video. There's been a lot of talk in 2020 about picking comics and flipping them. What do I mean by that? You're at a garage sale, there's a bunch of comics, pick them all up, pay for them, list them on eBay or whatever, and you make money back. Cool. The reason why there's been a lot of talk about it in 2020 is that 2020 has kind of changed hobbies forever. Well, we'll see if it's forever. More people have been getting into nostalgia. So not only comics as you see behind me, but figures that you see behind me, signatures. But what that means is that at some point, when you're collecting a lot of comics, you end up with duplicates because you're always trying to level up. And you can level up in two ways. You can level up in either the kind of value of the comic. So I have a bunch of Hulks, I trade them in, and then I go get that one Hulk comic that's my grail. That's one way of upgrading. The other way of upgrading, which people also do, is they have the comics they want, but they're not in the quality they want. So they would like all 9s plus if it's graded, and they have all 7s right now. So people are churning through comics constantly, and you can see this if you go to Instagram and you type in claim sale as a tag. These are people that either have comics that they don't want anymore or comics that they don't need anymore. And those are two different things. And they sell them for very low price, typically. There are a couple who... We'll get into that later. So, hard and fast rules that will help you pick and flip comics, even if you do it at your local comic store on long boxes. Now, here is the disclaimer. On any given day, and this is true for picking and flipping on anything, you can lose money and you can make money. Pickers of other items try to protect themselves by looking for the most profit. If you can get a 10 times profit window or even a 5 times profit window, you're protecting yourself because the loss is just less profit. Okay. So you show up at a garage sale or flea market, and there's a stack of books. What do you do? Okay. First things first. If they are a small enough stack, like 10 books, look them up on eBay. Look them up on CoverPrice, CoverPrice.com. Look at them up on Go Collect. Pick one and look them up. The most accurate picking is going to happen, and this is true for any picking, when you can look up the item, especially if you don't know anything about the item. I have, if I include duplicates, around 70,000 comics. I am not an expert on probably 90% of those. I would say that the average person can keep track of around 5,000 comics, 10,000 comics, somewhere in there. But once you get past that, you're kind of using these broad principles to understand what comic is going to sell. So look it up. Now, the first comic, if it's an issue 1, is always going to sell for more. The last comic in a series is also going to sell for more, typically. This is because, like most things, it's an it's a bell curve. At the bottom here, you have an introduction of a character. You have a small run of comics, so very few comics were produced. And then, which means fewer people have them. And then on the top of your bell is around midway through the printing cycle of this comic. And that means more people, I mean, they've printed more comics. The characters are kind of concreted in. So you're not going to make, those comics are not going to be worth as much. And then once again, it drops down. So when they decide that they're going to end the series, it's because they've run out of people to actually buy it. So they print fewer comics at the end. So when you're looking this stuff up on eBay, don't just check the first comic. Be sure to kind of spot check a few of them to get an accurate representation of what you're getting. If they are consecutive in numbers, that's worth more. It's called a run. If they, I'll pull an example here, a couple of examples. Yeah, this is a good example. Comic from 1985. If it's in a board and a bag, this is a soft bag. You can see you can do this. Wait, where is it? There. You can do this. It's called a poly bag. They're worth more. The board and the bag is about 15 cents. If it's a hard bag, so when you do this, it actually kind of claps back. You're looking at about 25 cents for just the bag and the board. Now, honestly, most comics that are 1985, 1990 and older, when they're in a poly bag with the board, the bag is actually aged. And what it's done is it's taken either sun from the side or color from this side. And when you take the bag off, you'll see it's yellowed. Once plastic starts to break down and starts to do funny things, it can be damaging to the comic because it starts to let impurities in that it's made to actually keep out. So look for a bag and board. Then you want to, you see how these corners are kind of good? They're not great, but they're good. Look at the corners. On the corners is where you're going to get bends. So you kind of see one here. Let's hide my face so the camera doesn't think there's a human in the room. Okay, it's blurry, but you can kind of see there's a bend over here. Corners are important. That's where you're going to see creases. You're going to see color breaks, which is a crease that's actually broken the color. So you see a white line. So it's important you look at the corners, and that'll give you a really rough estimate of the quality of the comic in general. Funny enough, most comic book collectors or purchasers assume that you will have bright colors. It's just the way it is. One more thing you need to look at is the spine. So this is going to be hard to show, but let's see. What do they treat as a human nowadays? A face? So what you want is a straight spine. You don't want it rolled over, so that in that case you actually see the staples kind of pulling over the front. You don't want to see ticks and cracks in the spine, and you want to be able to see the staples when you look at the side of it. And when you see the staples from the side, that means that they haven't been pulled into the comic, so the cover won't be loose. What's really hard about this is that you don't want to take it out of the plastic and page through it and see if all the pages are there and all that kind of thing. You kind of have to trust that that's true. The reason being is that by doing that, you can actually cause more damage. Now, will I buy a comic with bad corners, cracked spine, missing half the cover? Of course. If I need it, I'll buy it. And need it, dangerous word, but if it's missing out of my collection, I'll buy it, regardless of the quality of it. I have comics without any covers back and front, but they're hard to find comics. They're multiple thousands of dollars if you had to have a complete one. So I kind of view it as good enough. And it costs me. So let's talk about cost. If you buy a comic for 10 cents or a set for 10 cents a comic, 25 cents a comic, you can't really go wrong. You'll either make back your money or you'll multiply it multiple times. I buy comics by the thousands, by 5,000, 10,000. I think the largest set I ever bought was 18,000. Even when I kind of separate off what are duplicates and what I'm going to keep, those duplicates, if I had to sell them on Instagram or on Mercari or whatever the case might be, eBay, I would make my money back because I'm not spending more than 25 cents. Now, I've bought collections, smaller collections. The smaller they go, the more you're going to pay, typically. I've seen Commonwealth Picker, Kevin, buy a short run of like 8 comics for 25 cents the run. That's unheard of. And you can totally make money back on that. And he did. I bought them, so he did. So get the price right. If it's a smaller run, it's okay for the right comics to pay $1 each, $2 each, even $5 each. But you need to know every comic that's in that set that you're buying, because the risk goes up. The more you spend, the higher the risk. Okay. So high level, look at the corners and the spine. Check the price of several comics in the set you're buying, not just the front and the back. And try not to spend more than 25 cents a comic book. Now you'll notice I didn't talk about only buy Superman, only buy Batman. That's no longer the rule. So we'll talk about ages next, and we'll talk about particular characters and how to know what's hot and what's not. So ages. The comic industry has broken up. As I'm just looking at some notes over here, has broken up the time period that comics have been out, which is like early 1800s. Late 1800s to now. And they've broken it up into sections. So the first section is Golden Age. These comics are 10 cents and that's it. So that's the cover price. That's the price you see here. It'd be 10 cents. Now, to be honest, there's very few Golden Age comics that are comics that you recognize, because in the Golden Age, comic companies were going from comic strips that you see in newspapers to newspaper format comics, to formalizing what a comic book actually is: a side stapled, color or black and white comic. So there's very few comics that you would recognize in the Golden Era. There's Action Comics. If you buy number 1 and you're looking to sell it for $1, I'll buy it. Superman, Batman, Detective Comics, Captain America, Marvel Mystery, Green Lantern, Flash, Archie. Archie is huge during this time. They were able to take a character that was very well established in the funnies and translate him over into comic books, and it worked very well. Adventure Comics, Wonder Woman. So you see, DC during the Golden period was kind of a little further along than Marvel. And there's a lot of reasons for that. DC bought up IP. Like, they didn't come up with the idea of Superman. They bought that for like $40 or something from Schuster. So anyhow, a really interesting history. Regardless, if you see a golden book, so it's going to be a 10-cent book, and it's from 1930s to late 50s. Buy it. Like, don't even think twice about it. If it's got water damage, whatever the case is, if you buy it for the right price, which is that 10 cents, 25 cents window, you will make guaranteed bank. You could sell the separate pages in that comic for money. Okay. Silver Age. Silver Age comes off the Golden Age, so it's late 50s, a little bit of overlap, and it depends on the company, so don't even go there. Just they are 10 cents depending on the company, 12 cents, and then 15 cents to 20 cents. So some companies did 15 cents, 18 cents, and 20 cents. They're trying to make these small increments. So if you have a comic between 10 cents and 20 cents, Silver Age, buy it. Be a little more careful about the quality of them, because they were way more. Like, Marvel exploded in Silver Age. Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Thor, whole slew. And then like things like Tales of Suspense, Journey into Mystery, that once again led into greater comics. On the DC side, Action Comics and Detective Comics, they started about $250, and then Superman and Batman started about $100. So there's your line. But silver, buy it, you'll be okay. Just get the right price for it. So this is where things get fuzzy. Bronze era is 70s to 80s, and typically the price is 15 cents. So you see a little bit of overlap there. Silver was 20 cents at the end, at the high scale. This bronze is 15 cents, so there's overlap, to 40 cents. And it goes from 1970s to like 82, 83, somewhere in there. Once again, explosion of characters in bronze. Green Lantern, Green Arrow, Red Sonja, Black Panther, X-Men. The thing to remember is these comics, except for a few critical comics, which we'll talk about at some point, are worth about $2 to $4 depending on the quality. If you have a pristine quality bronze, you can get 10, 20. If it's a key, you can literally get hundreds, if not thousands for it. So that's the Bronze Age. Right as the Bronze Age was ending was an explosion of comic people coming into the market. It included me. I was a 79 baby, so by the time 82, 83 rolled around, I was old enough to look at the shiny things in the bookstore. And the shiny things were often comic books. So this Defenders is rooted deep inside the Bronze Age. And you can see the price on it is $5. That price is not accurate. I think I paid $2 for this. So let's move on. Now this is where things get crazy. From early 80s to now, so that's 40 years of comics. They call it the modern era. If you buy a comic from the 90s, and it's not a key, and we'll talk about keys later, you might even lose money or you might break even in 25 cents. I don't think you'll lose money at 25 cents, but you'll break even at 25 cents. They made so many comics. A limited run nowadays around 10,000 issues. A regular run, I think, is around 120,000. They were making millions of comics back in the 90s. And some of the series were really good, but they just oversaturated the market. And then you had companies trying to push that number even higher with Death of Superman, being absolutely oversold everywhere. You search eBay for white Death of Superman and you see the white cover everywhere. And then like the marriage of Superman and Lois with the marriage book and the invites, and it's all sealed up. You don't see that anywhere. So I have two. Actually, I think I have one now. I try not to keep duplicates in my collection. So, all of that aside, be careful when you're buying in modern. What tends to happen is with today's comics, they peak for about 3 to 6 months in price, and then they come down. And it's when you buy them that's really key. If you can get a modern book that's from the last 5 years for a quarter, that's a good price. It's actually a really good price. And the market's pretty good, pretty vibrant. eBay, you're going to get a lot of competition. And the prices are going to be premium prices. So your photographs will be really good because you want to show those crisp corners and the nice spine. You can pay people to iron out and they don't use iron, but to iron out they use t-shirt presses for the most part. Iron out your comics, and you can pay people even more money to clean your comic. And that you'll get incremental increases to how much you'll get. So it's kind of a crapshoot out there. I would say if you're looking for a slam dunk, go gold, silver, bronze. Once you're into modern, you got to research everything if you're looking to flip it. My recommendation is buy in large amounts, bundle them together, like, themed, bundled together, and oh god, a bunch of stuff just arrived, and sell them in a lot for like 80 cents each or $1 each. It'll go. Key comics. Key comics, people hunt for key comics. These are origins of characters first appearance, limited run, highly destroyed comics. So this might be that a bad word was in a comic and DC said destroy the comic, but some people held on to it. All that kind of stuff. You got to really do your research to be able to be at a flea market and just go, that's a key. It's easy with some, like, oh, here's an Amazing Comics #1. But there's what they call minor keys, which are minor character appearances or a first mention of a character. People are kind of holding on to these because if they say it's a key, they're going to get more money. So you can use a piece of software called Key Collector on your phone, but be warned that because it's a key doesn't guarantee that you're going to get money back. oftentimes it's over. How to say this correctly? It's as action. So if you're looking for a quick flip, do it. If you want longevity and you want to hold on to it and you want to make sure that it is a investment, don't do these crappy keys. It just doesn't work. Once this whole COVID thing blows over, you will see within a year, you'll see a lot of people dumping their collections. A lot of people are going to go to digital. A lot of people are going to realize that it takes a lot of room to store collection. This is not the only room that I have with my personal collection. There's a room next door to this one, and there's a garage. So if you can, right now, comic prices are at a premium. I've never seen them this high. If you can wait, that's what you want to do. So I know this is like a long thing and you won't remember anything. Just remember this. Look at the spine and look at the corners. 10 to 25 cents a copy. If you are going to look them up, look up multiple in the same piece so you get an accurate representation of what you're buying. eBay will give you premium prices. Places like Instagram, claim sales will get it quickly out of your hands, but at the lower end of the price. And key or hot mess. Educate yourself if you can. Like a key for the Marvel universe is like, oh, in Winter Soldier and Falcon, I saw this character in the background, and now that's a key comic. It's crazy. Okay, I just got like 20 packages. So I'll be back, but for now, that's it. Go pick and flip comics. And if you're looking for someone to buy it, look at me. I'll buy them.